What's up, everybody? Welcome to the new Awesemo Fantasy Football YouTube channel. My name is Matt Gajewski, and we'll be bringing you all kinds of content over the summer delivered by our team of analysts. If you're tired of industry consensus and groupthink, try our data-driven approach. Before we get started, hit that like button, hit the thumbs up button. Stay tuned to the Awesemo channel for all kinds of fantasy football breakdowns, live best ball drafts, mock drafts, and much more. In this particular series, I will be going through all of the top fantasy football players, their projections, draft slots, recommendations, and all that ahead of the 2021 NFL season. And as you can see before we get started, we will be kicking this off with Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. Getting into his background, McCaffrey will be entering his fifth season in the NFL. He's still only 25 years old. He's 5'11", 205 pounds, but we are expecting McCaffrey to play at a slightly heavier playing weight this year. He's been very vocal this offseason about making changes to his diet, making changes to his training regimen, kind of to combat some of the injuries he battled last year. And digging into his stats, everything you're seeing on the screen right now is going to be from 2019. Considering he only played in 3 games last year, that was the result of a high ankle sprain. He missed 6 games because of that. An AC joint sprain, missed another 3 games. And then finally a thigh contusion caused him to miss 4 more. So in total, he played 3 games. In that span, rushed for just 225 yards on 59 carries. Still had 17 catches, another 149 yards there. But not the season we wanted out of Christian McCaffrey in 2020 after he was the #1 overall pick in fantasy leagues. But going back to the 2019 season, and that's the numbers you're seeing on the screen right here, Christian McCaffrey produced the second best season we've ever seen from a running back in fantasy football. He did this not only on a massive rushing workload, you can see 287 carries, he totaled 1,387 yards and 15 scores, but he also produced 1,000 yards as a receiver, 1,005 yards in total. That was on 116 catches, off of 142 targets, another 4 scores as a receiver. Just absolutely crazy production for McCaffrey. That was a step up from what we saw from him in 2018, where he also posted 867 yards as a receiver and 1,098 yards as a rusher. So he's been doing this for years now, aside from the injury-riddled season we saw last year. And even from an efficiency perspective, McCaffrey's doing it all. 49 missed tackles, 752 yards after contact. He's done it all. Looking at his opportunity, this is why he was the #1 pick in fantasy football and widely why he's viewed as the #1 pick this year. If you look at snap shares in 2019, he played on 93.4% of the snaps. That was slightly better than his 91.3% snap rate in 2018. And if we even want to look at the small sample that was 2020, Christian McCaffrey played in 3 games. He played on 97, 64, and 71% of the snaps. Those latter 2 numbers were influenced by injury. He got hurt in both games. From an opportunity standpoint, he received 26.8 opportunities, that is carries plus targets per game. That was 93.5% of all the opportunities dedicated to the backfield. It was 93% of the carries, 94% of the targets. Even if you want to break down targets based on the entire market share distributed across the team, he received 23.7% of the entire team targets. That was #1 among running backs in that 2019 season. This crazy opportunity share even extended into the red zone, which gave him large scoring equity. He handled 80.6% of the red zone carries. That totaled 54 total red zone attempts. That was second in the NFL in 2019. As dynamic as they come, McCaffrey even played 11% of his snaps in the slot or out wide, which is very notable moving into this upcoming season. The main question for McCaffrey moving forward is, will we, because of the injuries he sustained in 2020? Now, looking at this Panthers offense, there's a lot to like heading into this year. Last year, they passed 59% of the time. That was 15th. They ran 62.1 plays per game. There's a lot of reasons to believe this will jump up in 2021, which we'll get to. And they have the 13th easiest schedule. Bookmakers are already projecting them at 7.5 wins. That's just slightly below average. Now, looking at the improvements that Carolina made this year and how they may benefit McCaffrey, They're going into their second year with Joe Brady as offensive coordinator. He is the former architect of that championship-winning LSU offense. And remember, McCaffrey barely got to benefit from Joe Brady at all last year. The offensive scheme that Brady runs is very friendly to running backs. We saw 59 receptions out of Mike Davis last year. Looking to the LSU offense, we saw 55 receptions out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. McCaffrey, already known for his receiving ability, should benefit from Joe Brady. We also saw Joe Brady coax a career year out of Teddy Bridgewater. They'll be moving on to Sam Darnold this year. I wouldn't call that a downgrade. Remember, Sam Darnold's the former number 3 overall pick of the New York Jets. Battled under Adam Gase for years of his career. Now he's going to Joe Brady, who routinely finds easy throws, check down throws for running backs, and gets players yard after catch potential. That should benefit not only Darnold, but McCaffrey in this offense. When we look at the overall offensive body of work, we have a team losing Curtis Samuel. They added Terrace Marshall on day 2 in the NFL draft, but that's still a big projection. McCaffrey, with his 11% slot rate in 2019, should be able to at least help a little bit of that loss. On the offensive line, you have a team that's also looking to get a little bit better. They lose Russell Okung, who was hurt for most of last year, but they add Cam Irving, they add Pat Elflein, and they draft Brady Christensen out of BYU in the 3rd round. They're getting better, closer to average there. Finally, among running backs, we lose Mike Davis. So Christian McCaffrey is now battling just Chuba Hubbard. That was the only investment the Carolina Panthers made in the running back position in free agency and the NFL draft, and Chuba Hubbard was a day 3 pick. He's potentially a handcuff to look at this year, but he's not really a threat to McCaffrey's workload. Then we get McCaffrey himself. He's already participating in OTAs. He claimed to be at 100% already. That came in the same conversation. He talked about dietary and training regimen changes this year. All this points to a similar workload to 2019, and we should be seeing an improvement in offense, not only under Joe Brady, but hopefully under Sam Darnold as well. This is why he's still the 101 in fantasy drafts. He's already displayed the ability to handle a huge workload across multiple seasons. Carolina did not invest in the running back position outside of a day 3 pick in the NFL draft, and they have an offensive overall environment that seems to be improving. The bottom line with McCaffrey, don't be scared of injuries. RBs sustain injuries at some of the highest rates in football. And when we're playing fantasy football, we're playing to win. So if you have the number 1 overall pick, Christian McCaffrey is the guy you want to take. He has the best role in fantasy, and he has the highest chance of bringing you to a championship. That will do it for us at Awesemo.com. I am Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Next up, we'll have Dalvin Cook, but make sure you follow along these videos. We'll be breaking down all of the important top players in fantasy football ahead of the 2021 season. And hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, check back every day for more content. We will catch you next time.